How are you feeling? You got John Riggs here. I was personally invited by Digital Eclipse to go to their studios for a double party, and I'll tell you more about that coming up right quick. But first of all, this is a genuine reaction. A genuine reaction for one of the games that they had when you first walk in. So just on the ground floor, what the dude? All the arcades I go to, all the time, they never have Quartet. Oh, I haven't seen Quartet. I haven't seen Quartet in forever time. No, it's supposed to look like that. I'm going to play some of this for sure. Oh my god, look at the carpet. This Friday, I'm in love. Come on now, look at this. Now, this was a double purpose to be here. It was not only to play Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, but it was also a launch party for Tetris Forever. By the time we were there to play this, it was the launch day for Tetris Forever, which I played on the entire flight there. Now, I'm in Washington State, so it wasn't too far to fly from where I am to Oakland, California to be there. But what a great experience. And of course, while we were there, kind of waiting for everyone else to show up, we were all playing this here. I'm the yellow one, by the way. I'm not the best at Tetris, but I held my own versus the other guys here just fine. A huge fan of Tetris Forever. If you haven't checked it out yet, further proof that Digital Eclipse is the team to team up with for a video game compilation of history of any sort. What a fun experience and what a fun time we had there. But while we were there, while we were waiting for everyone else, just their little lobby area had a bunch of other arcade machines there too. It was cool to see what other arcade machines they had. You saw Quartet. That definitely played me some Quartet while I was there. But they also had just, a bunch of other arcade machines that were just sitting there on free play, which was kind of fun too. This was a party, so they also had some alcoholic mixed drinks. I didn't have any of those. I stuck with the IPA, and they had Coke Zero, so that's good enough for me. And plenty of water, as always. Hydrate before you dihydrate. But again, just I couldn't be more thrilled that I was invited to something like this, because I don't typically get invited, or ever get invited, to video game companies, to their facilities, to test out some of these games in advance. Now, I would go. I love the opportunity, just never had the invite. So the fact that they invited me and I was able to make it, I was in the middle of the week, but I was like, you know what, I can take a day off of work. I can make it happen. I can make it happen, and I made it happen, and I'm so glad I did. I just tested it too. This Q*bert does have the knocker in it. We'll see if we can get it to work. It'll be super quiet, but when you fall off, it'll make it sound like he falls and then hits the bottom here. Let's see. See that? While I was there, I got a bit of a tour. There's Death Jr. there. Got a little bit of a tour. Now, the studios weren't robust. They don't have to be. Like I peeked my head in the Nintendo headquarters once, and I was like, yeah, it's a bunch of cubicles. It's people working. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool to be there, but really, but it's just finding those little things like the Death Statue. I was asking about that a little bit. Death Jr. For their launch of that. Also had a wonderful tour of Mike's office. Now, Mike is the head of Digital Eclipse. I did a separate video about that, like right when I got back. So if you want to see the full video, you can see that too. Just all the cool things that he had in his office, like a working Amico. Who would have thunk it? But truly, the reason we were here was Rita's Rewind. Here's just the intro that I took while sitting on the couch. Oh my goodness. Down! You turn it up for Power Rangers. Woo! Alright. We're going to be playing here right quick. Alright. And that was really the main reason they invited us in the first place, was for that couch co-op experience. I mean, this game plays best as a couch co-op, so they invited a bunch of us over. Now, I was there representing my channel. There was a couple of other people who had a podcast. There were some people who also had YouTube channels. A couple of journalists were there as well. Everybody very nice. Everybody very cordial. Super fun to be there. And just, again, a thrill for me personally to be invited for something like this. So, Rita's Rewind. Now, this is coming from me. I'm the Blue Ranger, by the way. Anytime there's a person with glasses, whoever has the glasses, that's who I'm playing as. 100% of the time. That's my guy. So, Rita's Rewind. Now, I'm a huge fan of brawlers like this. These side-scrolling beat-em-ups, you can do multiple attacks and ideas. The kind of things you would expect from a side-scrolling beat-em-up, which you want for that familiarity, but there's also a couple of new maneuvers that you can do as well, some juggling-type things, and things of that nature too, which was a wonderful way to play this game. And again, couch co-op doesn't get any better than that. Even with new friends. Gotta love that too. Now again, this is coming from me. I am not the biggest Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fanatic there is. When it first aired on television, it was late in my high school career, like I was junior year, senior year, something like that. Yeah, I had a couple friends who were kind of into it. It wasn't really my thing, so I never really quite got into it. My nephew, however, was, so I knew all about it from him, and of course, I'd watch it when I was babysitting him and stuff like that. But so I don't have that nostalgic stranglehold on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers like most people do. But I'm here to tell you, this game's amazing. This game's wonderful. It was such a fun experience. Of course, I'm very familiar with the Power Rangers. But again, I'm not the biggest fan. However, it didn't stop me from having the best time ever playing this game. It was so cool. Now, it is called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. And I was like, well, what's the rewind? Well, that's the rewind. If you don't attack the time destructor on time, you have to blow these things up, and if you don't, by the time the time runs out, well, it's going to rewind the time, and you're going to have to keep doing it until you finally get it right. And by getting it right, it means never mind who you're trying to attack, you have to make sure this thing blows up so you can continue with your game and move on with your life, buddy. At the end of the stage here, we finally come across our first boss in Goldar, and Goldar does something that I wish we had in other fighting games this whole time. Look at that. His bar turns gray. And when his bar is gray, that means you cannot hurt him. It means he is indestructible during that time. So you know not to use your weapon crash. You know not to waste your movements on trying to hit him, being too close. If his life bar turns gray, this goes for all of the bosses in this game. When his bar turns gray, just like that, move out of the way, you ain't gonna do any damage on him. And then when it turns red again, well, then you can come back and, fight him off some more and everything too. What a wonderful feature. I don't know who did it, but props to them. It's one of the best things you could possibly do for a fighting game like this, is to let me know when I can't hurt the boss, so I'm not, getting smacked around. Wasted effort, you know what I mean? Any game that features multiple gameplay styles is always going to be good news in my book. So I was very excited to find out that not only is it a side-scrolling beat-em-up, which I love, but they also have a couple of other gameplay modes in this as well as you're playing this game. Like this kind of behind-the-back. It reminds me of Operation Thunderbolt. There was a couple of arcade games that were like this. Was Rambo one of them? There was another one called Infiltrators? That's not right. Oh, man, the name escapes me at the moment. But it's that kind of behind the back, you're shooting through. Yeah, you're in your vehicles, or your dinosaurs in this case, as you're making your way through these things. But again, I was like, oh, cool, there's another mode of gameplay to this, so you're not stuck just, with the monotony of a side-scrolling beat-em-up, which can be fun, too. And there's a lot of great games in the past where it's like, it's fine. That's what you're getting into. But when you can add something like this in there, makes it even better, in my opinion. So we have our boss battle. Fun how this worked too, because if you're playing it multiplayer, like we were, 4-player on this one, you keep going until you get hit, or until you get attacked or whatever, and then it moves on to the next person. So everybody gets a turn. So if you're all in the same suit, you're all playing. So, instead of just being one person do one thing, or it's like one guy controls one arm, one guy controls the other arm, everyone gets a chance to do their dodge and make their attack and make their way up and do some serious damage on this guy. So I thought that was a fun idea. So everyone's still involved, even though you're all in the same mech. Now, I thought that was the end for us. I thought it was, stage 1, you go through the thing, you do the deal, you beat Goldar and all that, and then you're done. It's like, oh, we get a little bonus. We get a whole nother stage, and so much more going on in this stage, too. Again, it starts out as your side-scrolling beat-em-up. That's the staple, that's the standard, that is the foundation for this game in the first place, as you play through this game. And again, definitely better on a multiplayer. Oh, man, then we had the elevator. Why does every beat-em-up have to have an elevator stage? Every beat-em-up, it's the law. You gotta have the elevator stage. And this one, interesting enough, I couldn't quite get the enemies to fall off of the elevator. Again, that's the other thing too I didn't even mention, is that this is still in production. It's still not early on, but there's still gonna be some tweakings going on here. So if you see something in this video, and then when the final game finally comes out and you're playing it that way, you're like, hey, what happened to that one scene? What happened to that one part? What happened to this one thing? Well, they may have changed it along the way. I thought it was pretty polished for what we played of it. But again, we didn't go all the way through it, you know what I mean? And then after that, we go through the motorcycle stage. And this is you're on your motorcycles and you're shooting the enemies in front of you. A little bit like that one with the dinosaurs, but this one's more, going down the road. And it's less about aiming for things and more about just shooting whatever's in front of you while dodging everything and destroying these, the time disruptors as well as the Chrono Cruiser. The Chrono Cruiser, which also keep the time disruptors with some very, very cool special effects on something like this. And salute your flag, give an homage. Akira, gotta do the Akira slide, buddy. You gotta have the Akira slide, man alive. Again, what a wonderful experience, and a big thank you to both Digital Eclipse and Atari for the personal invite. I had a great time. The chicken was fantastic. Trust me, nobody loves fried chicken more than I do. They actually catered fried chicken while I was there. I didn't tell them to do that. That just happened to be on the menu. So I was like, oh my God, I'm in love already. Everybody there, all the employees there. It was so cool to see my buddy Chris Kohler and Stephen Frost. They were there as well, and Dan as well. And just everyone hanging out. And a big thanks to Mike, too, for letting me film his office. A wonderful experience. Can't wait to do more of it in the future. I would love to do more of this for other video game companies, too. But happy to be there. And again, huge fan of this game. I looked at it a little bit at PAX and looking more forward to it as soon as it comes out. Digitally first, and then I'm sure there'll be plans on a physical later in the future too. So something to watch out for. Thanks again.